Welcome back to Guitarnivore. We got another tone tutorial for the Boss Katana Mark II today. This one is going to be Seek and Destroy by Metallica from their first album in 1983, Kill 'Em All. Now I'm going to be playing this Dave Mustaine signature model. It's just a great guitar, and I love playing it, so I figured why not. Maybe a little tongue-in-cheek humor there too, I don't know. If you haven't checked out the other one, I'll link it somewhere here at the end. I just released it earlier today. It is a 72 Seasons You Must Burn tone tutorial, and that's a really cool sound too. So without further ado, let me tell you, I normally don't do a whole lot of Metallica stuff because there's so much Metallica patches already out there. But I made this one my own, and I hope it sounds close to it. And I hope you can't hear all sorts of background stuff either. I think I just picked a horrible night to record, but whatever. Starting out with a nice, clean tone, let's look at our chain. We're going to be using chain 1 because all we got is a booster. And then we'll have a delay and reverb, but those are always after the amp. So we're just going to use chain 1. And for our amp, we're going to actually use a clean. Normally, for Metallica, I might use a crunch and then push it with like another booster. But we're not going to do that tonight. We're going to actually keep it clean. And when I was doing some research, I came across an article that said that in the early days, James Hetfield used a Rat. So I've got ahead of myself here. Let's go back over to the panel here. So on clean, we're going to go about 43 on the gain. The volume, let's pump that volume up to about 86 so you can hear it. And then we're going to actually turn the bass down to about 40, turn the mids down to about 37, because we're talking old school 1983 tone here, okay? And we're going to jump that treble up to about 75. Over here, we're going to be using a vintage cabinet with 70 on the presence. Everything else is left alone. Now back to the booster, like I was saying. I heard that he used a Rat, so I figured, you know what? I'm going to give that a shot. We'll see how it sounds. And I think I got there. Turn on that booster. Let's hear how we're sounding before the Rat. Of course, we're not going to sound like anything because it's just got a clean, gainy amp. A little volume helps. Nope. So let's get these settings in first. I've got the drive on the Rat up to 55. I've got about 23 on the tone because it's got a lot of treble in it. And I got the bottom rolled back to about 3. And I've got the effects level right up to about 59, 60. Now let's hear it with the Rat. By the way, I am using a James Hetfield. I don't know how well you can see that. White Fang pickup. They're part of Dunlop Flow, and they're just an awesome feeling pickup. Although I've kind of worn that one down, they're a great feeling pickup. Dunlop Flows are pretty cool. Anyway, back to our boost. Sounding a lot better. So now that we got our boost, we are going to be jumping straight up, and we're going to throw a delay on here, and it's just going to be a simple analog delay with about 191 milliseconds on the delay time, and just simply 3 on the feedback. I'm going to keep the high cut at 4 hertz, and the effects level about at 37, so we can, let's hear our delay now. You can hear it. It's very subtle. I just want to keep it subtle. And then we got a reverb. Let's go over to our noise suppressor real quick. That one's set way too high. That release is way too high on here. That's just how the channel is. You don't need to release that high. But threshold, you can keep it about 50. So we got that on. Let's go back to our reverb. Back in our reverb, I'm using a hall reverb just to give it just a little spaciness, that spacey sound, that really deep reverb sound that you do hear on Seek and Destroy. And we got 26 milliseconds on the pre-delay, 63 hertz on the low cut. My foot's falling asleep. And I left the high cut flat, left the density there, and I've got the effects level bumped up to 69. I think that's probably the highest I have ever put that reverb effects level on here. So let's hear it now. But we're not quite there yet. Now we need to dial on the EQs, which is going to make quite a bit of difference. let's jump up to our EQ over here, and we're going to start with a graphic equalizer. And we're going to turn it on before we play so you can hear the major difference. Now, I'm going to bump the level up to +5 on it because we need some volume on here. And then the 16 you can put down to -8. You're not going to hear a whole lot of difference in there. That's kind of just where it fell. -4.5. I'm going to leave that at 0. 1.5 on the 2 kilohertz. 2 on the 1000 kilohertz. 1.5 in the 500. 0.5 on the 250. Then we're going to go -1 on the 125. -4 on these 62s. But anything below 80 hertz, you're really not going to hear a huge difference because that's where all your bass is. But we want to turn that bass down. So we're going to put it at oh, this is not cooperating. -5 and then -4 on these ones. Let's hear it now. With it off, with it on. Now let's move over to the Parametric EQ. It's sounding different. It's not sounding a whole lot. It's sounding better, but the Parametric EQ is where we're going to really kind of make it shine a little bit more. I got +1 on the low gain, and I've actually got the low cut up to 80 on this one because the 40 just sounded, I needed a little more higher frequency on that. And then +1 on the low mids, and I've got that down to 160 over here. +4 on these two, and +3 on that, and 5 and 160 on here because I tried playing with it, see if it sounded a little bit different. It didn't. So before. With the Parametric EQ. Now, perhaps that's a little too much bottom end in there, but I'll let you play with it. That was an odd time when the sound wasn't all that good, and they used what they had on the budget they had, and they made it work. Let's hear it one more time in the mix. Well, that's going to wrap it up for today. If you like this video, hit that like and subscribe button for me. As always, the download link will be down in the description. I hope you've enjoyed these, and we'll see you next time.